Everyone is addicted to something. You're addicted to something. I'm addicted to something. Everyone that you look up to is addicted to something. Now you might be wondering, well, if everyone's addicted to something, why are some people successful and some people are failures? Some people seem like they can never catch a break in life, and other people seem like they're always winning. How is it possible that those winners have addictions, have vices that control them? Well, the answer is simple. They have a different type of addiction than the people who are quote unquote failures. What do I mean by that? Well, there are two types of addictions in life. There are productive addictions and there are destructive addictions. Whenever you can turn your destructive addictions into productive addictions, you will find yourself on the winning side much sooner than you could ever anticipate. That said, in this video, I want to share some of the productive and destructive addictions that I myself have faced, because the chances are that you have faced some of the same addictions, especially the destructive addictions. But let's start with the productive addictions, because a lot of people don't understand that in order to become successful at anything in any realm of life, it takes addiction. It takes addiction. As a matter of fact, let me rephrase that. In order to become successful, it takes desire. In order to stay successful for any extended period of time, it takes addiction. And a good example of this, a prime example of this, is my addiction to YouTube. Now, full disclosure, full disclaimer, I will be the first to admit that my channel is well beyond its glory days. I don't know how many views this video will have, but I know that at the time that I'm filming this, I'm struggling to crack 1,000 views on my channel. I have 162,000 subscribers. It's safe to say that I've fallen off. And a lot of viewers never miss the opportunity to remind me of that. But I find it really fascinating because most people who say those sorts of things, really all people who say those sorts of things, they've never even seen the top to have been able to have fallen off. But that's a different discussion for a different day. The point is, I've been able to fall off because I've reached a point where falling off was even possible. If I never got to 1,000 subscribers, much less 100,000 or 162,000, how would a fall off be possible? It wouldn't. So in other words, I've fallen off, but in order to have done that, that meant that I got to a certain level, a high level of success. Now, how did I get to that level of success? It's simple. Addiction. I was addicted to YouTube. Not to the level of a Mr. Beast or somebody like that, but I was addicted to making this my primary source of income. And lo and behold, I did. As a matter of fact, to date, I have made, I don't know the exact number, but I've made over $100,000 from talking to a camera, which is crazy to think about. But at the same time, is not that crazy because the level of addiction that I had for YouTube made it practically inevitable that this was going to happen at some point in time. I was addicted. And when you have this degree of addiction, you will also have a consequential conviction that makes your success pretty much inevitable. Maybe not in the way that you envision in your head right now, but your success becomes inevitable because you're addicted. It's a productive addiction. Another example of this is working out. Now listen, I'm no bodybuilder by any means. I don't have the nicest body, but when you compare my body now to what it was before I started lifting weights, before I started working out, you can see I have made quite a bit of progress. And not only that, but I've also made it even harder on myself by being vegan. And more often than not, sticking to specific exercises that other people don't see as muscle building exercises like dips, pull-ups, push-ups, calisthenics. Again, that's besides the point. The point is, my addiction for going to the gym and building the body that I have right now, or even beyond, is what has allowed me to build this body. Because you have to think about it. The level of consistency that it takes you in order to build your body the way that you want to is unfathomable to most people, which is why the average American, I don't know about other places or other people, but the average American is obese or at the very least overweight? It's because they are not addicted to working out. They're not addicted to living a healthy lifestyle. They're not addicted to proving people wrong about how vegans can in fact build muscle. They don't have those productive addictions. They have destructive addictions. Now, on that note, what are some of the destructive addictions that I have had in my life and that you probably have as well? Well, the first destructive addiction that I had, especially between ages 11 and 19, give or take, was video games. Listen, however addicted you think you are to video games, multiply that by 10 to the 10th power. And that was me. Okay, there were literal months where I would just stay at home in my room playing Call of Duty Black Ops, playing GTA 5, playing 2K, watching tutorials. Not only was I playing the games, I was watching videos about them. I was obsessed. I was addicted. And because of that, although I was never a pro gamer or anything of that caliber, I became pretty good, especially to say that I was 11 or 12 years old. I was out here dropping people off and my balls hadn't even dropped yet. I became good at the games, just about every game I played, especially Call of Duty Black Ops 1. I will give you the work on that game, by the way, and GTA 5, because I was addicted to them. I was putting in full-time job type of hours for literally no pay. As a matter of fact, I was purchasing microtransactions. I was one of those. Okay, I was addicted. But what did that addiction get me? It got me absolutely nothing. And that's why at 19 years old, my video game addiction ended abruptly. It's because one day I was playing GTA 5 per usual, and I had an epiphany. I realized this addiction has produced literally no positive, tangible benefits in my actual life. And so I am wasting my time. Every second spent playing this video game is a second that could be spent playing the game of life. I know it sounds cliche and corny, and every self-improvement content creator uses that analogy, but that is for a reason. If you're addicted to video games, you need to understand that the video game is not actually fixing your life. It's just providing you with a temporary escape, which I will touch more on later in this video. The next addiction that I succumb to personally, that you are likely succumbing to on a day-to-day basis, is pornography addiction. Now, why am I so confident in saying this? The reason why is because studies have shown that 70% of men between ages 18 and 24 visit pornography websites at least once a month. Now, you might argue that that's not an addiction, and hey, I agree. It's not an addiction to visit a website once a month. The problem is if you ask that 70% of men to stop doing that. Ask that 70% of men ages 18 to 24 to stop visiting the pornography websites even just that one time per month and see what they do. That's when you find out how addicted you are to something. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into my addiction with PMO because I have touched on that countless times in countless videos. But what I will say is that that was the single most devastating and destructive addiction that I ever faced in my life. It was the single most destructive and devastating addiction I ever faced in my life because, again, I got literally nothing from it. Absolutely nothing. PMO addiction gives you no sort of tangible benefit whatsoever. And so you are wasting your time, your energy, and you are frying your dopamine receptors. You are making life less enjoyable, literally, because the part of your brain that processes joy is becoming desensitized. You're raising the bar, and as a result, you don't enjoy life. And because you don't enjoy life, you end up indulging in PMO to an even greater extent. And then you raise the bar even more, you enjoy life even less, and the cycle continues. That said, you're not actually addicted to PMO. You're not addicted to video games. You're not addicted to junk food. You're not addicted to social media. You're not addicted to any of these destructive addictions. What you're actually addicted to is escapism. You're addicted to escaping from the unsatisfactory reality that is currently facing you on a day-to-day basis. You are struggling to cope with the fact that you hate your life. And as a result, you are seeking an escape, a temporary escape. And what you need to understand is that a temporary escape won't fix the issue. As a matter of fact, it will only make it worse because, like I said, you're only raising the bar, making it harder to achieve happiness, literally, scientifically speaking. And as a result, you're making your life worse because it's becoming harder and harder to achieve happiness. And so what you need to do is you need to shift your focus from pursuing a temporary escape, a temporary fix, to pursuing a permanent escape or a permanent solution. Stop looking for quick fixes and start looking for long-term solutions. Now, if you want to know more about how to find and actually pursue that permanent solution, and if you're ready to take that first step toward pursuing that permanent solution, click the link in the description to get the free PMO Relapse Recovery Guide ebook. It is a 15-minute read that is specifically designed to help young men ages 18 to 24 or anybody near that demographic, adjacent to that demographic, who is struggling with PMO addiction, or really any addiction, but especially PMO addiction. Click the link in the description to get the free ebook before I come to my senses and start charging the money that it's actually worth.